last season, guiding the Canes to a 10-win campaign. Number 2, Mel, Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter going to Cleveland. Hunter, 96 grabs, 16 total touchdowns on offense. Also had 4 interceptions on defense last season at Colorado. Penn State linebacker Abdul Carter going 3rd to the Giants. Carter has 12 sacks. He won the 2024 Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year award last season for the Nittany Lions. So that means Shedeur Sanders is not going in the top 3, instead going 9th, Mel says, to the Saints. Sanders threw for better than 7,300 yards, 64 touchdowns in his 2 seasons in Boulder. He was 4th in FBS passing yards this past season. The architect of the 4.0 is with us this morning, Mel Kiper Jr. Sanders now going 9th to New Orleans, Mel, and it seems like there had been a wide range of potential spots for this Colorado quarterback. How did you navigate that volatility and land on Sanders going to the Saints?
Wasn't easy, Randy, because I tell you, projections are all over the place, opinions all over the place. I'm solid as a rock on Shedeur Sanders. I think he's going to be a heck of a quarterback in the NFL, but there are mixed opinions. And obviously, where does he land based on the fact he doesn't have the howitzer for an arm, right? Well, okay, you think about the New Orleans Saints at 9, right? Dome Stadium, Atlanta Dome, nice weather in Carolina, Tampa Bay, right? More conducive to success for Shedeur. Does he get down to Pittsburgh at 21? Do they pass on a quarterback? Does he get down to that 26 area with the Rams? Then to the Giants, maybe try to move back in and get him. So that scenario could occur if he slid past New Orleans at 9. I think that would be a great spot. Kellen Moore, new head coach. Obviously, you got to move forward at some point. Derek Carr, 2, Shedeur Sanders, probably in either year 1 or year 2. He would be certainly ready with the experience he has. As he said, played with so many different coordinators. I'm NFL ready. He is. He can beat you from the pocket, protect them, and he will pick you apart.
Okay, so no Sanders in the top 3, perhaps, though, in the NFC South. You have Travis Hunter at 2 to the Browns and Abdul Carter at 3 to the Giants. You do have both teams taking quarterbacks, just doing so at the top of the 2nd round. Louisville's Tyler Shuck to Cleveland at pick 33, and Bama's Jalen Milroe to the Giants at pick 34. Mel, why do you have each team going this respective route?
Well, you're getting the best players in the draft, Randy, at 2 and 3. Travis Hunter is number 1 on my board. Abdul Carter is number 2. These are positions of need for these teams as well. But you have to do in the NFL, you got to score touchdowns. You got to have the wow factor. Cleveland needs that on offense, and another great cover guy on defense. Certainly can't hurt. End of the first half, end of the game, crunch time. You need a guy like that out there covering those receivers and also scoring touchdowns on the offensive side. And for Abdul Carter, finishing the first half, finishing the game, getting sacks. You talk about with the Giants, the ability he will have. Then you get the quarterback early in round 2. It's never happened in the common draft where quarterbacks have gone first pick in the 2nd round, 2nd pick in the 2nd round. But for Tyler Shuck, he put it all together this year, stayed healthy at Louisville. And for Jalen Milroe, if he could just bottle that Georgia game, Randy, and become more consistent and less erratic, then all of a sudden you could have yourself a really good quarterback because the talent is in abundance with Jalen Milroe.
I want to get to the running back position. You're rock solid on Ashton Jeanty going 6th overall to the Raiders, but Omarion Hampton to Dallas at 12. What is it about the back out of North Carolina that makes him a good fit at that spot?
First of all, the Cowboys drafted Emmitt Smith in the 1st round, right? They drafted Zeke Elliott, so they've gone this route before. But Omarion Hampton, consistency, Randy. Last year, outstanding, even though he didn't have Drake May. He was great with Drake. He was great without Drake, right? And he can catch the ball and he can block. He's got 128 fewer career carries than Ashton Jeanty as well.
Doesn't have to leave the field. NFL draft begins April 24th on ESPN.
From ESPN Studios here. I don't know what is going on. I've been having some internet issues of late here on the campus, so I got to get my Wi-Fi checked. But anyway, it's good to be on with you guys. And yes, here's the million-dollar question many are asking these days. Is my hair continues to grow and looks more and more like a Kiper? Do we go with Mel Kiper Jr. or do we go Mel Kiper III? The streets are debating this left and right. I'm looking for feedback from all of you guys because you know that I very much value your opinion.
I like Mel Kiper Jr.
1,000%.
No one has the junior.
Junior.
No
You have to go with that.
Junior, but the third has a little bit of a more regal vibe
It
to
does.
it, which I think fits Fields' personality.
Yeah, the third more like an ascot vibe going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Junior feels like something you order off of like a Wendy's menu, right?
Yes, correct.
But the third I can work with. It's again, these are the kind of things that keep me up at night right now. Not who's going to go number 3 overall in the upcoming NFL draft.
Good question. Who is going to go number 3 overall in the upcoming NFL draft? If we're assuming Field that Cam Ward's going 1 and Travis Hunter is going 2.
Yeah, I think right now, if you ask me, 16 days out, my lean is in line with what Mel had, which is not a quarterback at number 3 overall. There was a time in my most recent mock where I had the Giants taking Shedeur Sanders number 3 overall, which I haven't totally dismissed the possibility. It seems like the winds are blowing more towards Abdul Carter. And now one of the questions that seems to be bubbling up is, the Giants do have a decent stable of pass rushers. Should they bypass Abdul Carter?
No, they shouldn't bypass Abdul Carter. That's why his connection broke up just now, because Field is talking that nonsense. There's no way that the Giants pass on Abdul Carter if he's on the board at number 3.
Did Nuno just pull the phone away from him?
He might have. We're not going to even entertain that blasphemy of passing on Abdul Carter with the 3rd overall pick.
I cannot imagine what your reaction would be with us sitting next to you on draft night if that were to happen.
Livid. Livid. I'm going to be throwing things, breaking stuff. Get away from me if that happens.
Okay, noted.
Yeah.
Can I ask a producing question here on the air?
Sure, go for it.
If Field is there, why didn't we have him in studio?
It's a great question. I was thinking the same thing.
I know that ESPN is a big campus, and maybe he has like a SportsCenter hit or something to tape or something.
Yeah.
But like one would think if he's there, just putting him in his seat would be easier.
If he's there and he acknowledged that he's having internet and service issues, that he could come to the studio.
Pat, would you like to explain yourself on this?
He's doing stuff with Get Up. So he didn't want to run all the way across campus to run all the way back.
Okay, but couldn't we have just taken their connection?
I don't know. I didn't set it up. Nuno did.
Clearly you didn't set it up.
I didn't do it. What are you blaming me for?
It's a whole other building, though.
Nuno sets all this stuff up.
Satellite feed thing?
Sure.
Can't they just punch him through to us?
You've worked here how long?
A year and a half?
It's long enough to know that things are never that simple.
Yeah,
here.
correct.
Never that simple.
It's not a quick punch through.
Yeah, it's small. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Field, you're back. Boy, what if we have to work on your phone service here? We got to get you Verizon.
Yeah,
in
we
there.
do. I know somebody, Field.
You know what? This all makes more sense now. Do you guys know this? Do you guys know that Mel Kiper Jr. does not own a cell phone? He does not text. There is 3 days a year that Mel texts. The 3 days of the NFL draft where he borrows his wife's phone so he can text people during the NFL draft or text his family while he's away. Can you imagine that? Going 362 days a year without text messaging and then texting for 3 days just during the NFL draft. But maybe Mel's playing the long game because when does Mel ever have an issue with his service? The answer is never. You know why? Because he's still using a phone that he hangs up after he finishes using it. Like he rests it back on the phone stand. So my apologies here. Technology has never been my forte.
No, that's fine because now I'm fascinated by the Mel Kiper cell phone, but I know we have a draft question to ask. So maybe
I love that, though. It sounds awesome to be able to go
it's probably the right
almost an entire calendar year without your phone.
That sounds amazing.
Sounds free.
I know.
The rotary phone, right? You got to have the rotary phone like
Does
Kiper.
he have a, he has a rotary phone for real?
I think so. Probably.
Oh
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by it.
Man, you know what happens if you mess up one number on that rotary phone?
You got to start the whole thing over.
It takes you forever to call somebody up.
By the way, take Abdul Carter if you're the Giants at number 3, by the way, right? There's nothing wrong with lots of great pass rushers. Ask
there
the
you go.
Eagles if they had any issue with it, right? No issue whatsoever.
They don't have to ask the Philadelphia Eagles. That's how the Giants won championships in 2007 and 2011. I mean, they know proof of concept.
What do you
That's
know
how
about
you get
those
it done.
teams?
No, exactly, Phil. But I do want to ask you about Shedeur Sanders because even though everybody has projected Cam Ward to go number 1 overall to the Tennessee Titans, Phil, Mel has been very consistent in terms of having Shedeur rated over Cam Ward in this year's draft. Now, coming off of the pro day, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the things that you saw, some of the things that you're hearing from Shedeur? I know questions around arm strength continue to be a thing, right? Can he throw the digs?
Yeah.
Can he throw the comebacks? Can he throw the deep outs? Can he have enough zip on the passes to get those plays there? Or is he going to be limited in terms of what you can ask of him once he makes the jump up to the next level?
Yeah, that's a couple of things here. Is first of all, I went to the pro day hoping that things would look as expected, and they looked as expected, right? The accuracy is really good. The ball placement, touch, all of that stuff is in line with what you saw over 4 seasons of college tape. The arm strength I thought was fine on Friday as well, right? Not going to blow you away. And so I wanted to kind of dive into where the arm strength matters or why arm strength still matters, because it's not like every single throw throughout the course of the game is a 50-yard bomb down the field, right? So it does matter on deep shots, right? It can matter on deep shots if you're playing in elements especially, which who are the two teams that we've talked about the most at the top of the draft that could be Shedeur Sanders teams? The Cleveland Browns, who play, that lake effect weather is real, and the Giants, who, it's not as treacherous in New York as it is in Cleveland. But as we know, by November or so, things can get hairy weather-wise up here in the Northeast. So it can matter in that regard. But also the other thing about Shedeur and arm strength is that Shedeur is not as innovative or athletic as Cam Ward navigating the pocket. And when you don't have the same level of escapability within the pocket, sometimes you just have to make a throw because you can't get out of the grasp of a defender. And having that rocket arm, even if you aren't able to get out of the grasp of a defender, can allow you to make some throws that you otherwise would not be able to make. So it's I would say, sort of sufficient arm strength combined with the sufficient escapability with Shedeur that I think makes it more of a concern than a different quarterback, perhaps a quarterback who is so dynamic that he can find his way out of trouble more frequently than Shedeur can. So I think Shedeur's got a lot of good. I have the 16th on the overall big board this year. I just think that teams at the top feel as though if you're going to take a quarterback in the first 3 picks, you have to believe that he is great. You have to be convicted. And the intel of late seems to suggest that both the Browns and the Giants don't feel that way about Shedeur, in part because Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are just that good.
Field, what's the intel telling you about Jackson Dart? We hear a lot about Shedeur. We hear a lot, of course, about Cam Ward. Do you think Jackson Dart is a guy that will go in the first round?
Man, people keep asking me, Michelle, if you were to set, is it 3 or 4 quarterbacks that go in the first round? Because I do think 3 is a number that ends up where I think that's where we end up landing with Jackson Dart. And what I can't tell you specifically right now is what team is the most logical suitor for Jackson Dart, because I'm not sure what the most logical suitor is anymore for Shedeur Sanders. Jackson's a guy who I think has a lot of – here's one of the people keep asking, so what doesn't Jackson Dart have that would prevent you from having a higher grade on him? And I say, it's not that Jackson doesn't have some of the qualities that you are looking for in a quarterback. It's just to what level does he have the requisite traits? He is a good athlete. He does have good arm strength. He did throw the football successfully down the field last year. It's just relative to some of the guys that we have seen go in the first round in recent years, specifically the 3 at the very top last year. Those traits are just not at the same level of the guys like Caleb, Jayden, and Drake, who went 1, 2, 3 last year. I think the range for Jackson Dart is probably as early as 9th overall at the New Orleans Saints, and probably as late as the early 2nd round, which would be the Giants and the Browns, or the Browns and the Giants pick 33